Welcome, one and all, to Talking with Tom and Jim. Hello, Tom
Hello.
Golder.
Howdy.
Hello, guys. They're film
Hello.
historians. They've written 4 books on the history, the golden age of Hollywood. Not really the history of Hollywood, but you know what I mean, about the golden age of Hollywood. And they're world travelers and writers and actors and all kinds of great stories from them, which is why we're here. So welcome, Tom and Jim.
Welcome.
How exciting. And next to me is an actor in his own right, Daniel Dye. He's an actor, and it's obvious. You know, Dan, when someone's an actor, I get this vibe, and I'm like, oh no, they're an actor. Like, oh yeah, you're an
That's
actor.
Fair.
And so,
That's fair.
And I think you're the one who instilled that in me.
Well, you know, there's different types of actors. There's like the cool actors that just know they're good. They're like just there. And then there's people like me that are just like
Yeah, it's the you. Yeah. No, I work with actors all the time, every day. So, but it's funny that actors have something about them. They're like, oh, you're an actor. Like if I am like in a restaurant or on a train or something, and someone's on there, I'm like, you're an actor. And there was a great story. I was in the grocery store. This was years ago. I was casting for something, and I was in a grocery store, and the checker in the grocery store was like really animated, really friendly, cool guy, had a great look. And I'm like, I think I want to cast you in whatever it was I was doing. And he said, how did you know I did theater and I was an actor? I'm like, yeah. Just know.
We interviewed this one actor, and after we were done, we walked outside of his apartment building and going to our car, and he was with us, and this lady comes walking across the way, and just came walking across, and I turned to the actor we interviewed after, and I said, she's an actress, isn't she? And I didn't recognize her, but he said, yeah. You just tell.
Yeah. Yep. So with that said, I want to talk about an actor who you guys knew. He just passed away. So I felt like it. Yeah, we should talk about David Warner. And share some stories or whatnot about him.
Okay.
On the spot.
I know. If we knew, we could have read his section again. Scott Wilson, who was a friend of ours, an actor friend of ours, when we were over at his house one day, he called up several actors on the phone to see if he can help line us up with some. And one of the ones he called was David Warner. And David Warner said, yes, he was living in Hollywood at the time. He was in between he was in England, then he came to Hollywood, and then he went back to England again for the rest of his life. But he's once again, of course, obviously he started out in theater in London, not in London, but I think he started off at Stratford upon Avon, up in that area. And then, so he did a lot of theater. The first movie I remember seeing him in was in 1967. It was a movie called Morgan. It was kind of an art film. I saw it at the Larkspur Theater in Larkspur, and he played this character who disguises as a gorilla. George Barrow disguises as a gorilla and going around. And I thought, hey, that guy's a good actor. And that's when I became familiar with him. He played Jack the Ripper in Time After Time, which Malcolm McDowell was H.G. Wells, and he had the time machine. And Jack the Ripper also came up to modern times in San Francisco, and they were trying to stop him. He was in a couple of Star Treks. He played the Cleon in the Shakespeare version, the Shakespeare one with Christopher Plummer.
Star Trek 6.
Sam Peckinpah brought him on, got him into his company. He did Straw Dogs and Ballad of Cable Hove with him. And there was a film I saw on TV once. It was a made-for-TV movie on a program. And I mentioned it to David Warner. I said, I remember this film called The Blue Hotel. I'm glad you mentioned that one. He said, nobody remembers that one. They think all I do is play these terrible bad guys. He said, that one I was a good guy in. And then of course he was one of the main co-stars in Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio. He said that everybody except Leonardo DiCaprio and the actress, I forget her name, they got money. Everybody else in the film got minimum plus 10%, minimum, SAG wages plus 10% to go to their agent. And then he did the show that you invited Jim and I out to see. That was one of his later ones. That Mary Poppins, new
Mary Poppins Returns. Yeah.
And he worked up till near the end. Cancer stopped him, but he kept working there in England. After he was married to an American woman, and that's why he got to stay he worked in Hollywood for a while. And then they were divorced, and then he went back to England.
When we interviewed him, I'll read. Okay.
Yes.
We asked him, if we can sum up his feelings about his career thus far. And he said, "It's been a very fortunate career because I'm one of over 80,000 members of the Screen Actors Guild, and I've been working constantly. As you get older, there are less opportunities in certain things, but to still be in the game, that's basically all I can ask for. I didn't set out to try to be a big star, but just to be a working actor, a jobbing actor, as James Mason said, is basically all you can ask for. This has been the way I've been able to earn my living, and I just want to continue it that way. It's not a question of ambitions. It's just staying in there and being a part of the game if possible. It's not easy, but you do your best."
80,000 members of Screen Actors Guild. Now you see how hard it is to make a living at it.
Oh yeah.
He was one of the lucky ones. Yeah, he was a talented actor, and and he was lucky to be able to make a living.
He was very unique. Like you could see, like you mentioned Star Trek, right? He was in a Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode as well, and they put all this makeup on you to make you an alien, a Klingon or a Romulan or whatever, but even through all that, it's David Warner. Like he was so unique in his voice and delivery and his acting. I felt like there was no one that you could mistake and say, "Oh, is that David Warner?" "Oh, it's not." There's no one, right? He's just so who he is immediately all the time. Like there's no one that does anything like him.
Yeah, he was unique. He was an individual. There's not 20 David Warners out there like there are some actors. Some you can't tell one from the other. They become blended together. But
even if you not just mistake them, but like they're in a category, right? Like you can say, like, who's going to star in this film? Is it going to be Tom Cruise or so and so? But you could say there's 5 actors. There's 5 they're in this category. I can't think of putting David Warner in a category. There's no other actor to lump him with to say, "Oh, he's like that person." Right?
Right. It's like that Star Trek one. Him and Christopher Plummer. They're both individual. They were each individual actor, and there's not 2 Christopher Plummers or not 2 David Warners. And that's what I miss so much in today's movies is people blend. In my mind, in my eyes, they blend together. They don't. You go back to the old movies. There was one Gregory Peck. There was one Gary Cooper. There was one James Stewart. There was one Katharine Hepburn.
Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, right. And so now I have a hard time telling a lot of them apart. So I don't even know their names.
Did you ever see Time After Time when he played Jack the Ripper? Malcolm McDowell was H.G. Wells to the time machine. They go up into the present,
present day San Francisco.
Yeah,
they go from London to San Francisco.
He made a great Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Wow.
When
did what time period did you guys meet him?
When did we meet David Warner? That was our fourth play. Probably it was after Titanic. It was after that one was made because he talked about that. But it was before he went back to England. Probably
early 90s.
Maybe later 90s even. Um, yeah, it was later. It wasn't early 90s because he was one of the last ones that we interviewed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, him and I are almost the same age. Uh, and he just passed away, what, like 2 days ago.
Yeah. I read that, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. And of course, one of my
our book that we had him in, he was one of the last guys we interviewed, was 2006.
Yeah,
oh wow,
yeah,
So
so
it was very, very late 1990s, to be true.
yeah, late 1990s anyway, if not early 2000s.
and of course he was in one of my favorite films, Mary Poppins Returns.
Yeah,
As
right.
Admiral
Yeah,
Boom.
he treated us to see that show.
1999.
Oh, 1999 is when we saw him. Yeah, because we have a picture we took of him when we interviewed him. We interviewed him at the Sportsman's Lodge in San Fernando Valley. Nice guy, nice guy and talented actor. And I hate this. There's so few left that we interviewed. There's only, you could probably count them on two hands. Of not the kid actors, but the adult actors. They keep going.
Yeah. So
They're my age. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like being that age. I want to be around. I plan on being around for another. I got to do a George Burns. I got to make it to 100.